Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. So, what we're going to talk about today, because 2023 is ending.
Yeah,
We're going to recap. Basically, most home sales for 2023 were unaffordable. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
For a typical U.S. household.
Yeah, the rate of rise was so rapid, we kind of outpaced.
Yeah, what was it?
Incomes.
You needed to make $114,000 to
Something
buy
like that, yeah.
a house. And in certain areas, you need to make over $200,000.
Right, yeah, you definitely moved into the six figures. No doubt about it.
So we're going to talk about that, housing affordability. And then we're going to give our opinion on if it's going to become more affordable or not. So watch till the end because we have some pretty good information. And I'll post the original article below because we're going to read a little bit off of an article. And if you like this kind of content, do me a favor, subscribe. It really helps out the channel and it's greatly appreciated. So let's start off here. What I just said, that 2023 houses weren't affordable. So just 15.5% of homes for sale were affordable in a typical U.S. household, the lowest share since Redfin started tracking this a decade ago. So basically, according to Redfin, people just can't afford houses.
Right, so I'd like to see the article. Only 15% of houses were affordable. You know what I mean? I'd have to dig into that one a little bit more.
Okay, but yeah, I'll post a link below.
Because to me, like when you talk about affordability, what is affordability?
So here it goes on to here. A home is deemed affordable if the estimated mortgage payment is no more than 30% of the average local monthly income.
Well, there you go.
That's your answer.
You see how my segue was? It's almost like we read the article.
I know. But, okay, let's continue this and we're going to talk about it.
Right.
Affordability plunged to 40% from before the pandemic. Okay, no, it plunged to 40% before the pandemic and 21% from last year. So before the pandemic, 40% of people were able to afford it.
Yep.
Last year, basically, now they're saying 21%.
Okay.
Redfin says the spike in mortgage is because mortgage rates is the key reason. It's true.
Right. I mean, plain and simple, read the article, not read the article. It just boils down to one simple fact. We've had I guess it's two facts technically. We've had such an increase in equity growth over the last couple of years, which is obviously, so like let's call it the 22, in previous years. Now we hit 2023. The interest rates went up so high. Affordability, I mean, with that spike in interest rates, the average home costs $300+ more per month, just, on a mortgage. That's a lot.
No, that is true. So basically it continues. So there's also enormous geographic differences. The biggest drops in affordability were in smaller cities, including Kansas City, Greensville, South Carolina, Worcester, Mass. So, it really depends on the affordability on the geographic location of where you are.
Just like we've always said in a lot of our videos, it really does depend on where you live. There's, the mass market as a national whole, there's the Florida market, then there's, micro markets inside of your cities and towns as well.
That's true. The report says because the housing costs have relatively more on the rise, because they're saying house prices are still going to go up, even though a lot of people are saying they're not. And local incomes are often climbing at a fraction of the pace of that mortgage payments are. So basically, the mortgage payments are increasing. I remember they said it used to be $1,200, then they were $1,800, then they went to $2,400, something like that. And now it's just unaffordable. So for a lot of people, their income is not rising as fast.
Right, because we've had such a supply and demand issue. We went so high in equity growth over that last 3-4 years, that obviously salaries haven't gone up that much. Inflation's gone up that much to help curb some of this, but salaries haven't gone up that much, and they're not going to keep up with that, and it would put put a lot of people out of business.
One of the biggest problems too that was during the pandemic is people trying to save money to buy a house. They were trying to save,
right,
but they couldn't save fast enough,
right?
Because inflation and the cost of homes were shooting up so fast they couldn't save fast enough for a down payment in the first place to buy a house.
Right. The equity growth that we saw in 2023 this year, now that we're getting closer to the end of the year, I mean, we're only a couple of days away. We'll see what the actual number finalizes out to be in the next couple of weeks. But, this is the equity growth that we saw this year is really where we should be. Right around that 3.2% annual equity growth. I'm not talking month to month, I'm talking annual over the last 12 months of growth. That's where we should, because we're more stable now. So that helps that, with that affordability. Think about it, the year before we had, like 35-40% in Florida. It was insane. So it's hard to do.
Like in some towns that we were talking about before, it's more affordable, but
Yep.
here it continues the same. But in contrast, San Francisco affordability was down only a smidge. It got down just 0.3% of homes for sale in 2023 were affordable in a typical Bay Area home. So basically, 0.3% were affordable in San Francisco.
Wow. That's funny. We were just talking about San Francisco today, as a matter of fact.
I'm not moving to San Francisco anytime soon, trust me. Okay, the U.S. affordability housing shortages is years in the making. What do you think of that one? It is.
It is. This did not happen overnight.
Okay, here's my opinion why it's years in the making. During the last crash, 2008, 9, 10, when I bought my house, there was developments getting ready to put in, and the builders got scared. They knew it was going to be a bad crash. They knew finance companies were in trouble and everything. They pulled the plug.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it took this many years for them to get comfortable again.
Right.
To get comfortable in order to start building these big developments.
Right. Like we've said in other videos, the housing shortfall that we have, we're not going to build our way out of it because we've had so many years, 15-ish years of underbuilt growth in the country overall, not just Florida, but just in it as a whole. We are so underbuilt in this country. It's going to take, again, more time to build our way out of these
So
things.
here's what it says, actually. I'm reading the article. Another reason for out-of-reach housing costs is severe housing shortages is that years in the making, the U.S. has built not enough homes since the housing crash of 2008 to meet demand.
Oh, there you go.
What were we just talking about? So that's pretty interesting. We're pretty head on with this article. All right. Housing experts say this shortage is high prices main driver of record U.S. homelessness rate. The annual count announced this month, the Biden administration said then 650,000 people had slept outside in shelters or on a single night in January of 2023. Because of shortages, they said up to 650,000 people have slept at least one night without a roof over their head because of the housing the housing shortage.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the whole thing is affordability is not going down to help that. So I don't know what's going to happen, with that. All right, let's talk about this one. The numbers jumped 12% from a year before, and it came out as much of the sweeping pandemic aid that kept people from being evicted ran out. It's true.
Yep.
During the pandemic, they had the eviction moratorium.
Yep.
Okay.
Foreclosure moratorium, all that.
People were getting checks, all that stuff. That's pretty much all coming to an end.
Oh yeah, I think that's been done for some time now, at least.
Unless they started again, but how much money can they print,
Right.
But that's what brought the people down because they couldn't get kicked out.
Right.
Now, everybody that's behind, I read some articles, some people were behind 2 years. Didn't pay a single penny. Yeah. More cities and states are losing their zoning laws to encourage construction to move and hope eventually bring down prices. This year did a record number of apartments under construction, although economists say it will take years to balance out. Let's talk about this one a little bit.
This is a good one.
Okay. The building that's just going around here. Talk about that. How much building? It's just ridiculous. This is the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, I mean, just in Pasco County, We've got several new hospitals coming in, some big ones. We've got Johns Hopkins. We just put in another Advent, and we have Orlando Health moving into the Wesley Chapel area. But where Johns Hopkins is going to go, it's part of there's a big development coming in. We're talking 38,000 new homes.
Really?
38,000 just in that section
Are they rentals,
being developed.
Or are they?
No, this is new homes, new single-family homes. And now they're also adding, infrastructure. Like I said, the hospital, they're going to have businesses, schools, stores, all that kind of stuff, and roads. This is huge. I mean, this is, 10,000 plus acres.
Yeah, but that's happening in Texas. In Texas, they're constructing more homes than Florida is.
Really?
Texas is the number one state for new construction.
Yeah, we can't be too far behind. And that's just one community I'm talking about in Pasco County. We have so much going on 56, it's insane.
But according to this article, even if they build everything, that they cleared the land out, they bought everything,
we're still behind.
We're still behind.
Right, we're not going to build our way out of this in 2 or 3 years.
So how does it become a buyer's market if there's not enough houses? Isn't it like supply and demand?
Yeah, so a balanced market is 6 months. So what that means is if a home, not a single new home, went up for sale, in 6 months at the current rate of absorption, meaning the house is closing, in 6 months we would be out of inventory. There wouldn't be a single house for sale. That's when we're talking about a 3.5 month supply, 6 month supply. So 6 months is a balanced market, and that's equal leverage on the buy side and the sell side. So when we're into that 3 to 4 months of inventory, the closer you get to that 6, the more leverage you have as the buyer, or more equality on the sell versus buy side. That's how that works. Okay. And we're at about 3.5, 3.3 months of inventory here, and we have been for quite some time. This isn't something that's new. We went down into the 1 month supply, 0.9% during the pandemic.
Isn't that crazy?
Which was insane. Just the speed of which.
You had buyers, but you didn't have homes.
Right, there were more buyers than were homes.
That's why there was bidding wars.
Right, and thinking about that, kind of coming fast forward, the people that were buying, they still need to buy. They still want to buy. They're motivated to buy. They just need to find a house to buy. So once these rates stabilize and things, kind of level out over the next, 12 to 18 months, you're going to see buyer demand come back up, and then that's what's helping keep up prices throughout the country.
Now, basically, the builders, a lot of people are saying that buying a new construction is a better deal than buying a used home, because a lot of builders, some builders are getting nervous and they're doing buy downs, or they're doing add-ons, or they're doing free upgrades, or whatever they're doing. They're becoming creative because they could compare, so I think they have better selling power than somebody selling their home. Talk about that.
So builders are offering incentives now. So kind of on what we just talked about, what does that tell you? That tells you that it's more of a buyer's market from the new construction side of things.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, so which is a good thing. So that's kind of your little shiny star right now for the next couple of months at least. So once you start seeing those incentives retract a little bit, we're starting to get back to more equal on resale and new construction. But because the interest rates are at a higher point right now, builders are offering incentives, rate buy downs, and closing costs being absorbed by the builder, which is a huge incentive for you. So as long as you have that new construction and stuff going on and it meets your needs, that's a possible direction for you to head.
At the same time, the whole premise of this video was unaffordable homes. People just can't afford to buy a house. Do you think it's going to get to builders? I'm noticing, because I do a lot of new construction inspections, I'm noticing they're building a little bit smaller houses. Before I was doing like 3,000 square foot. Now I'm doing 2,200 square foot.
So in one of those phases, new development phases, phase 1 is going on right now. They've got 2 additional phases coming in. That's going to expand actually from Pasco County all the way into Hillsborough County. That one's so big, and that's not the 38,000 I was talking about. This is another one. That's going to be around 17,000 homes. But they've previously, to your point, they started in reverse. They would sell the larger homes typically first, the higher price point homes, 8, 9 million.
Because they made more money off of those.
Because they made more money off of it. They recouped their investment quickly, and then But now the affordability issue has come in, and those homes aren't moving as fast right now. So now that I've noticed, even in all the smaller subdivisions, when they hit the next phases, they're building more affordable homes, more for what we'll say like middle America type homes that everybody can, or majority of people have a chance to afford. We're not talking, $800,000 houses. We're in the 400s typically around here.
Okay, answer this question. Do you think affordability is going to get better in 2024? You can't, this is your opinion.
Yeah.
I personally think that you're going to still need two incomes, and it's going to be tough, to buy in hot markets.
Right.
But I think it's going to get easier, more affordable in declining markets.
I would agree with that. And affordability is kind of subjective to an extent because...
No, like with 30% of your income going towards the mortgage payment.
Right, because it's still subjective because the interest rates, as the interest rates come down, that number starts to change as well.
Yeah.
Are the houses going to come back? That's why I say subjectively. Are the houses, how the housing price is going to retract significantly? Probably not. We're either going to stay stable, but here in our area, we are just not, even during these high interest rates, we slowed down, but we didn't go backwards.
But now it's like, it's December. Between Christmas and New Year's, you figured it would be slow, and I'm busy as hell.
It's not slow. I mean, it's slower,
It's
but
slower,
it's not slow.
but I just, I was trying to see if I was going to get a few days off, but I'm not.
No, I wouldn't expect you to. Like, honestly, it's you're well established and you work with a lot of realtors, and we are slow, but we are not stagnant and going backwards.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anything to add?
Nope. I mean, just if you've got it, if you're even thinking about it, as I always say, I encourage you to reach out to a real estate professional that can just give you advice on your specific situation, because everything is different for everybody.
Yeah. Anyways, that's today's video. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. As always, do me a favor, consider subscribing and watch the next video. It should be right over here. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks. See you soon.